Hello and welcome. I am going to play some Historic on Arena. I've been excited about kind of dabbing in Historic since I heard about it coming out and I knew rotation was coming up. Um, so I started with this Orzhov Black White Knights deck, especially with all the cool knights we got in Throne of Eldraine. But what I'd really like to do is get some ideas. I haven't put a ton of thought into Historic, so what I'd really like to do is get ideas from anybody that happens to view this video. I've got plenty of wild cards, as you can see here, to use to build decks. Plus, I've got my library is pretty expansive. I got at least one or two copies of almost any mythic or rare card that's out there. But I'd love to hear what ideas any viewers or anybody else out there might have in regards to deck ideas, deck themes that I can try out for Historic. And if I get some cool ideas, I may throw together a deck and do a Historic video that I'm more than happy to upload to YouTube with any ideas I might get from you guys. I typically don't play anything that has blue in it, just not my play style. But other than that, any other cool ideas I get, I'd be more than happy to try out. So here we've got some Dauntless Bodyguards, 4 Knight of the Ebon Legion, 4 Knight of Grace, 4 Worthy Knight, 4 Knight of Malice, 4 Smitten Swordmaster, 4 Murderous Rider, 2 Unbreakable Formation, 2 History of Benalia, 4 Mortify. I have the wild cards to get more History of Benalia, but I only had 2 already, and I may end up using some wild cards on them, but for right now, I just went with the 2 that I already have. And then I've got 2 Valiant Knights and 2 Circle of Loyalty. For land, I'm running 9 Plain, 7 Swamp, 2 Godless Shrine, and 4 Isolated Chapel. I do have more Godless Shrines, but I only went with the 2 just to see. I didn't really have too many mana problems in testing or any of the videos that I recorded. But overall, again, let me know what you think of this deck, what other decks you'd like to try out in Historic, and if you want me to use my wild cards to build something cool, throw out some ideas around some deck themes, and I'll look at potentially brewing something up and throwing some gameplay out here on YouTube to see what it's like. So I've got, I think, 4 games that I recorded. I think I win the first 2, lose the third, and win the fourth, I think. I think my overall record, I played about 8 games. I was 5-3. But yeah. So here, just waiting on the opponent to decide what they want to do. And throw the white one out there. And then right now I've pretty much got the mana to cast everything it's in my hand, which is nice. Obviously starting out with the Worthy Knight. Get the token generation if it, my thought was if it stays out there, get some token generation as I cast my other knights. They're playing black. I think it's a mono black deck. I can't remember exactly. And I should have put the Knight of Grace out first, because of the hexproof from black. But I didn't think about it until I'd already cast the Knight of Malice. And the hexproof from white popped out. It's been a while since I've played any of the now rotated out knights, so I forgot about that piece, which is one of the reasons why I even put those in the deck in the first place, along with the first strike. But yeah, that would help give me that extra layer of protection against black. But anyway, there's the Knight of Malice. I attack with the Worthy Knight. And then here I decide to go, after throwing out the Knight of Grace, go just a little bit cautious and only swing in with the Knight of Malice with the first strike. That way, I didn't want to lose anything quite yet. I wanted to try and get a pretty hefty board state going. Um, so with only attacking with just the Knight of Malice, Knight of Grace, had summoning sickness still. Didn't have to worry about losing anything there. As soon as I saw the Death Baron, I knew, well, now everything's going to have Death Touch. We got to mortify that bad boy. Got him out of the way, and then I swing with the Knight of Malice and the Knight of Grace. Again, just trying to be aggressive yet cautious. Got him down to 8 life already. Match is going along pretty quickly. And I've still got the Murderous Rider hanging back. Another Death Baron. I mortify the Death Baron. Sorry. Use the adventure half of the Murderous Rider to get rid of the Baron. And then I mortify the Midnight Reaper. And that allows me to have enough damage for the kill. Or actually, I feel like they did something that slowed me down here, but I can't remember. My thinking was I would have enough for the kill, but I feel like they do something here that kills a couple of my guys and slows me down. There it is. So I was only able to get in the 4 damage, but that still leaves them in a really rough state. And I think the match doesn't go on too much longer. I think maybe 1 or 2 more turns. Really, that Knight of Grace against a mono black deck was huge. Without a sweeper, that hexproof from black is just really came in handy. Without them having a sweeper to get rid of it. Seeing here, they've definitely got some interesting combinations that they're pulling off that I hadn't really thought about. To get the Liliana down, gain some life, which is kind of cool. Didn't see that coming at all. And then here I swing in. Wouldn't have been lethal because obviously they can block the Knight of Grace. But they scooped it there. So this next matchup, I believe, is against Mono Red. And if I remember correctly, I don't remember seeing anything in their deck that wasn't standard legal. So I don't know if that, maybe they just had some stuff that's not standard legal that I just didn't end up seeing. But yeah. So anyway, we start off with throwing down a couple of knights here. I just wanted to get the Knight of the Ebon Legion down and kind of give him the indestructible with the bodyguard if necessary. So here they do a couple Scorch Spitters. At some point they play a Chandra's Spitfire. It's nice to leave that mana open. I almost made the mistake of casting the Knight of Grace before attacking with the Knight of the Ebon Legion, so my hope was to bluff with the 3 mana, which I didn't end up using because they didn't block, and then still be able to cast the Knight of Grace like I did. But that first strike is so handy in a lot of situations. They've only got 1/1s out there right now, so it's not too impactful, but here I absolutely take out the Spitfire in case they're about to throw down a Cavalcade of Calamity or something. I don't really have anything to do with flyers other than, Mortify and Murderous Rider, my removal pieces. So got that out of the way while I could. There's the Cavalcade. They chose not to attack. Here I threw out the Murderous Rider because it's got the lifelink. That way if they do start swinging in, can help offset hopefully some of the damage from the Cavalcade by blocking with that. Kill one of their creatures and gain a little bit of the life back. So they got another Cavalcade down. Potentially 6 damage to me if they were to attack, but they chose not to. So this part's pretty cool. I get the Dauntless Bodyguard down as well as the Knight of Grace, which gives me 6 knights down. I thought about attacking right here, but I remembered to, before I attacked, I wanted to get in the Curry Favor, which is the adventure half of the Smitten Sword Master. Ding them for 6 life, and then just put a lot of pressure on them, force them to block with their Scorch Spitters, and get in for lethal, which is always nice. So this next game is actually one where I lose. I get my butt kicked, actually. Pretty much curb stomped, if you will. And you'll kind of see how the match. I don't have the greatest starting hand in the world. I don't have any of my 1-drops or my only the 1/2 drop, which is usually the Smitten Swordmaster. Usually something I want to save the adventure half of it anyway. But since I drew another one and I wanted to get something down, so you see the shock there, getting rid of that. I get down the History of Benalia, but they actually end up taking out both of my tokens before I decide to attack with either of one of them, which may have been a mistake on my part. You can see they're running, I think it's a Phoenix deck. And here I should have attacked. I don't know if it would have done any good, but they just start picking off my tokens here left and right before I get the benefits of the history of Benalia. I mean, 1 mana lava coils are nice, and they have 2 of them. Or they get us. They must get the second one there with the card draw. I mean, you can just see they're just hitting me hard, and here I know I'm not able to get out anything that's going to really save my butt. I just hit them with the Mortify real quick just for fun, but yeah, it was pretty much over. Should have hit the old good game, but I forgot to. I was just like, it is what it is. So this last match is a little bit of a longer match. I'm trying to remember. I can't remember if it's Golgari or Demir that I played in this one. But it was a little bit of a longer match. So you can see a couple more elements of the deck, which is why I wanted to include it. Yep, so black, green, Golgari. So I've got my Knight of the Ebon Legion, my Knight of Grace, which having the Knight of the Ebon Legion. Oh, yeah, this is the one where they do the Witch's Oven. See a lot of this deck, versions of this deck in Standard. Probably a waste of the Mortify, because once they get food tokens, they can just keep bringing those guys back. But yeah, see, I actually come across, feel like almost every other, or not every other, but I come across a version of this deck a ton when I'm playing Standard in the past couple of days. Sure, the Knight of Grace having Hexproof from black helped me a little bit in this matchup. But here I'm going to get the Knight of Malice down. I decide to go ahead and ping him with the Smitten Swordmaster there, the adventure half of it. Ding him for a little bit of life. And really the idea was I need to start putting a lot of pressure on them, because if they get the Witch's Ovens cracking with the cats, it can just turn into a really bogged down match. Typically, when you're playing the Witch's Ovens decks with the cats, it's a lot of you sitting there watching them bounce the cats, in and out of the battlefield for long stretches of time. So I was just trying to put a lot of pressure on them and hope they weren't able to get that combo going super quick, which as you can see, they don't have an oven out there yet at this point, but they do have the bird, or the gilded goose, which allows them to create those tokens and kind of serve a purpose, a similar purpose. Cool Hydra card. They take out my Knight of the Ebon Legion. Decided to block that there with the first strike. I don't know if that was an oops on their part or, yep, yeah. See there, they get the oops out. and I don't know why I didn't play the Smitten Sword Master in that place. Um, I don't know if I was just at the time thinking I still had the adventure half of it, not realizing that it had already been exiled and ready for the creature half to be cast, or what. There really wasn't much of a benefit in me not playing it, other than to keep the 3 mana back to for the Knight of the Ebon Legion to pump it up and give it Death Touch. So that could have maybe been my thoughts at the time, but I can't remember, to be honest. So here you see the Witch's Oven doing its thing, them getting the cats going. So here I take out the Hydra so I can start swinging in again, without worrying about losing any of my guys. Luckily, with their Witch's Oven already tapped, they're not able to sack the cat in this instance. A lot of what you'll see this deck do is do the block and then sack the cat for the food token and then bring the cat right back in. But again, with it being already tapped, they weren't able to pull that off. So I think we see a Vraska come down here soon. Can't remember if it's this turn or another one, but I know they do end up getting a Vraska out. Oh, yep, there's the Vraska right there. They decide to go after the Knight of the Ebon Legion. Here they're going to sack the cat and bring it back in. I'm going to decide to take out Vraska. Probably could have kept applying the pressure on them in that situation, but I just didn't want Vraska, for if the game did continue to get drawn out a while, I didn't want that to become a problem. I didn't know they had another Vraska in their hand. So there's Bye Bye Knight of Malice. Obviously, with the 2 Knight of Graces having hexproof from black, figured to my Swordmaster give him indestructibility because he's got that lifelink going on as well. But so here I swung two at the face, 1 at Vraska, kind of make them pick and choose. Do you want to take a bunch of damage with your RD being low, or do you want to try and save your Vraska? And luckily, with that guy having lifelink, it's really helping offset the damage from the cats bouncing in and out. If this were a situation where they had multiple, 1 more Witch's Oven out, could get to be a tough spot. So Doom Whisperer here. So they're low enough at this point. I just kind of keep swinging. Again, just I know I've got them in a tough spot. And I just wanted to really keep applying that pressure and hoping that I would get enough cards to keep that pressure on heavy enough. think we get a little bit more action with the. They don't have any food tokens out there, and they weren't really willing to sack the Doom Whisperer to get any out there. Here I should have sacked the Bodyguard, but I sacked the Swordmaster. In my opinion, an error, because the Bodyguard's not doing anything but protecting the Swordmaster. And the Swordmaster at least has lifelink. So I probably should have kept the Swordmaster and sacked the Bodyguard, but so here they don't really have they have no cards in hand. They could have sacked the Whisperer and brought some cats back in, kept it going for a little bit longer, but yeah, they conceded. Good game opponent, and so here's one last look at the deck. Let me know what you think of this deck, and again, as I'm just now kind of dabbing in with Historic, let me know if you have any cool deck theme ideas for me to try out in Historic, and if any pique my interest, I'll use some of these wild cards, give them a shot, and throw something out there. But thanks for watching, and have a good one.